so long it's like alchemy.
And here we go. All right, this game probably doesn't deserve the UFC here we go take, right? But game 6, here we go, Staples Center. The surprise move from Steve Kerr is Shaun Livingston in the starting lineup. Yes, we're going small, but it's S dot. And like always, I will keep it 100. I think it's an ego move. I think it's like a Kerr, like the NFL draft is going on right now, right? And it's much like what the Raiders did with that first pick. It's like, oh, really? You're trying to outsmart everybody, huh? You're doing the shocking. Let's not stick to the script. Let's do something surprising. Let's show how smart we really are. Anyway, my little rant is over on that. But yeah, Shaun Livingston in the starting lineup. So there was an adjustment made. Game 6, I guess I don't need to say, we need to close this thing out ASAP. Let's get into it. First possession, thank you, high pick and roll, Steph Curry. Got away with a moving screen there, it looked like from Shaun, and it was Draymond. You liked his energy, and it was noticeable out of the gate. A quick second jump, offensive tip rebound, and they went to Gallo deep on the post on Durant. It's a good strategy, try to make Durant work, perhaps some foul trouble, and Gallo rewards him with the smooth jumper. More pick and roll action I was very happy to see, but then Shaun, perhaps still nursing the knee. Usually that's a quick fire, like extension dunk, right? And you saw him kind of geek out of the way there. That wasn't a good sign. And then Steph, not exactly moving great laterally, right? Beverly blows by him baseline, and I'm just making note of that because that's to start the game. He wasn't moving great laterally. And then this happens, Draymond gets into a little pissing contest. These two are built so alike, and Beverly gets the best of him because he didn't really put a move on him. He's not going to elevate over him. You got to at least change directions. And then Livingston getting the start and playing real alert. I know I'm being a little bit sarcastic here, right? But he is notorious for that. Him, David West used to do it a lot, and Durant. Those three have been the biggest culprit on those three-point plays, and he gets one early on. I like this little curl action for Durant where he gets to his spot moving without the ball. I think adding that just adds to his effectiveness. And then the rookie, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, yeah, I'm saying it, with the little bully ball move on Klay. And look, I get why people are excited about him. I'm just not sure he has the personality type to really be a star. I think he may just kind of be this player, right? He'll refine his game, but I don't think he has a star-like personality. Shamet, the steal, and Draymond, the rejection, as things got up and down here early on. Early signs that Durant was starting to enter the matrix. Everything was just silky smooth and coming so easy. And then look, I understand you're playing the percentages in the scouting report, but he at least deserves a hand up, right? He's proven enough that he deserves a hand up. I know he's not a knockdown shooter, but he hits the three, and then Gallo's going to hit a three. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I was like, is this the death of a dynasty? Like, we're supposed to get angry Warriors here. They come out kind of flat, and the Clippers take a 10-point lead early at Staples Center. You're going to see Steph cruise, hoop, and the harm, but still not looking too enthusiastic about playing basketball, right? The defense would eventually pick up. They woke up. Klay comes from the weak side. I know his numbers weren't great, but his defense was. And then Durant doing Durant-like things, reaching around and spiking that on the break full speed. A lot of people wondering why Looney hasn't played more, myself included. Watch his lack of help on this Draymond closeout. The closeout, watch Looney just stand there and let Gallinari cruise for the dunk. And Draymond's like, really? Really, Loon? Come on, man. Right? So, you know, there's some nuances of him not giving full effort at times, and maybe that's why his minutes have been limited. KD, I really like the way he finished this. He could do that more often. He doesn't always use his length when he drives. He uses it to shoot over the top, but he doesn't always use it to elongate and finish. You see him doing it that time, and then this happens. This is why we didn't want a game 6. This is why we didn't want a game 6. Steph Curry rolls the right ankle. Take another look at it. It's a full roll. I just wonder what those braces actually do, if they still allow him to roll over, or what that does prevent, because they're so cumbersome. Is that a word? I think that's the right word. You see him stretching it out. He stayed in the game, and he does this so often. Whenever Steph tweaks an ankle, he comes down and knocks a shot down. Have you noticed that? It's like clockwork. So he knocks the 3-ball down. He's in the game. Everybody's kind of looking at him, but not looking at him, right? This was the fear, man. This was the fear. I'm not going to lie. I couldn't focus on the game for a while just because it was all I could think about, and I was just so frustrated and upset with it. And you could see the frustration on his face. But then it seemed to just activate Durant even more. He was already in rhythm. He was already in flow. But now he understood it was his time to take over. The team needed him to do so. And he clearly thrives when needed, like most superstars. Pull up 3-ball. Something that may go overlooked because of Durant's heroics was Andre Iguodala in 27 minutes, 15 points, and was a huge lob threat from the baseline. Just ask Draymond. Draymond's gotten a lot better at throwing that lob softly, but I got a little more to say about that later in the game. Iguodala the dunk. There's another one. This time it's Loon, who, again, not very many minutes. Are they saving him for this Rockets team? He better stay ready so he ain't got to get ready. So Lou comes in here late in the first and does Lou Williams type things as the Clippers did their job, right? They opened up with a 10-point lead and kept the game close for Lou and Montrez. More Draymond on the roll. This time he finishes on his own. And you already know he gonna let everybody know about it with the flex. Steph, meanwhile, headed to the locker room in my stomach in knots. This fade to the baseline, I think, can be used a lot against Houston, who likes to send their help from the top side, right? And so the help can't get to that shot. He gets the and one. I think we're going to see a lot more of that moving forward. Lou and Clay says, no, I'm going to clamp you up. I'm going to clamp you up. Clay, if you notice, was noticeably fired up to start this thing. Irritable, scowling, talking to himself, and I loved it. Clear out, give him space, go to work, ISO God mode, same spot, same results. And then this was a weird play. Watch, Durant wanted to make a pass and he was going to travel with the ball, so he lets it go. But what he doesn't realize is he has the right to pick that ball up. He just can't move with it. Instead, he lets it go and the Clippers get a layup. You can see it's still a single-digit game, and Quinn Cook is in there because Steph was still back in the locker room. Lou drops a jumper, and then JaMychal Green needs to send the Warriors like some flowers or some chocolates or something, because we left him alone all series, right? His stock has really risen, I think, in part thanks to our defense on him. Montrez and Bogut. And Montrez, where you at? This was the quietest I've seen Montrez in this series, as Bogut tells him, you smell, mate. More Durant, 6 of 14 from behind the line. And his shot, it looks just a little more controlled. The three ball one, it looks like he's more decisively shooting it, but then he seems like he's just shooting it a little more smooth than we had seen earlier in the season, where I'm not sure he wanted to actually take it. He knocks this thing down, and the takeover's in full effect. What you witnessed last night was an epic performance from the greatest scorer we've seen in this generation. You know who he is. You know who he is. Another thing I found interesting in this game was, for the first time in the series, we actually got the beneficial whistle for most of the night, right? The Warriors had the favorable whistle on the road. The NBA was like, all right, enough's enough. We need to go get our money. JaMychal Green finally misses a three, probably his most open look of the night. And KD just snatching control of the ball in this game. High pick and roll action. You can just see him dripping with confidence, and he's not forcing shots. That was the beauty of this performance. He wasn't just jacking shots. He got it within the flow of the offense. Another one. And here's the thing. I talked about Clay's numbers not fully telling the story. I think Draymond's numbers are the same, except the other way. Like, his numbers were monstrous. I don't think he played quite as good as his numbers suggested. You're going to see him with these two finishes here, and it's imperative that he continues to be aggressive and look to finish in the rim in this next coming series. But, like, watch this defense here. Another hand-down circumstance where it's just a late challenge and he gives up a three. So don't get me wrong. He was a big part of what we did last night, but there were some things that he needs to clean up and refine moving forward if we want to keep winning. Steph back in the game, and it was a good sign to see him go to the rim. Listening to Mark Jackson, though, and he was talking about Steph not looking right, and this was after he tweaked the ankle, but the tone that he said it with and the way he kind of said it, the way I took it was that Steph Curry had been dealing with something this entire series and that he's tough. But that's just how I read into it. And I don't know what y'all think if you had that telecast. Lou Williams, you see him a little bit sped up there. I've been saying it all series. His jump shot's the lesser of evils. When you let him get into the paint and lean and flip and fade, and he's going to get to the line every time, I like that possession out of Steph. I know he didn't make it, but I like the aggression, and I liked him kind of dancing with the ball there. Here's the double team, and Draymond scooping up dimes like he's Clay out in LA. Iguodala, another two-handed finish. Talking about the way this game was refereed again, you're going to see Montrez on a second attempt here. This is the right call. I don't think Draymond, he might have had a heel in the restricted, but either way, Montrez got himself in foul trouble, and he only played 17 minutes in this game, and you can see the chemistry and camaraderie was much better from the Warriors. I think having to face this Game 6 may have kind of galvanize them a bit, at least in the moment. All the things going on with this team, one thing that gives me a lot of confidence moving forward is Iguodala's willingness to rise up and finish above the rim, because at the previous two playoffs, he just couldn't do it, whether it was mentally or his knees. He wasn't doing it, and now he is. Durant, yeah, that's about a 4-point play. He didn't get the whistle, but he still hung 38 and a half. Third quarter begins, and here's a little bit of championship DNA that we haven't seen in a while. You know how they like to come out and make a statement in particular, like the beginning of quarters, where they just have a defensive sequence that kind of lets everybody know, like, oh, they're locked in. We're not about to be scoring easy against them. And there was one of those sequences to start the third. But then Sean Livingston gives this kid another wide open three, barely gets a hand up. He was the only starter with a minus. He was a -7 in 17 minutes, and it'll be interesting to see how much confidence Kerr has left in him moving forward. Gilchrist with the Giannis gallop to the front of the rim, and things got a little bit sloppy. There wasn't too many turnovers here, but one thing I noticed, did you see Steph kind of bobble the ball there? That's what I've noticed throughout this first round, is Steph's handle hasn't been as tight, and then Draymond kind of making up his mind beforehand and then gets caught in no man's land, and Shamet capitalizes on the other end, 3-ball. And Staples starts to wake up. And I'll give the Staples Center crowd some credit, as I think they're louder than the Rockets crowd will be. The Rockets crowd doesn't really give them much energy. They don't have much of a home court advantage. So out of a timeout, it's Durant with another three. And, you know, the Clippers weren't going to stop playing. We knew this. But the problem was, I think everybody got the sense at this point, as he had 44, that no matter what they did, Kevin Durant was not going to let the Warriors lose this game as he took over. Draymond may have been a little shaky on the perimeter, but he locked in defensively at the rim. 4 blocks on the night. The show, the go, the extra marinara on the rim as Gallinari gets the and one, had his biggest offensive output of the series. Now Shamet, if he can add this to his game, he's going to be real nice, because you have to kind of sell out off him when he comes flying off those curling screens. And then this happens. Yeah, I'm saying it again, but it happens again. Clay rolls the right ankle. If I had to gauge, I think his turns back over a little quicker than Steph's. But clearly, I think all of us more concerned with Steph, just given his history and also given the fact that Clay is a motherfucking savage, right? Clay will probably play game 1 and we won't even notice that he had a sprained ankle. Steph, not so sure. But yeah, this is why we didn't want to extend the series, because there's always casualties of war, and the Splash Brothers are officially chipped up. Now, Draymond, he got his triple-double. He got his 10 assists. But right here, look at this. He's putting Iguodala in a compromising position. Sometimes when you throw that lob, you're putting the guy who's trying to catch it in a compromising position. It's like a quarterback throwing over the middle, right? And Draymond did that several times late in this game, and you could see him clearly assist hunting for that 10th assist later in this game, and it frustrated me. And I'm going to call him the fuck out on it. And Iguodala with a statement dunk down the middle. I think that was kind of a message to Draymond, like, look, bro, you heading down the middle. Sometimes you got to just go right up and spike that shit. Or maybe I'm just reaching, but either way, it was nice to see him glide in there vintage. I'm going to criticize him where he deserves it, and I'm going to give him credit where he deserves it, because no one closes out more aggressive and harder than Draymond without fouling the shooter, right? You saw him with just a super close out there, as we're real active, and we can sense the knockout blow is pending. Steph, the touch lob back to Dre with the knee. Everybody responds to an injury different, right? But part of what makes Clay a legend, and what I'm kind of predicting, is when Clay's chipped up, he almost plays better, right? If Clay were a fighter, he would fight better once he started bleeding. Steph, not so much. You see him get to the rim, and I'm praying for both of them that they can both be effective, but I think we're all more concerned with Steph moving forward. And there's the rookie, the gnome, I don't know his name, Thornton Thompson, some shit. He hits a 3. And then Montrez picks up his 5th foul. And I'll be honest, I thought late in this game, I thought we were going to get a little more feistiness out of this Clippers team. They kind of rolled over later in this game. Lou, he didn't jack up as many shots as I thought he would. I thought they would get desperate and get feisty, but I think that ultimately they gave in to what they knew deep down in their gut. They weren't good enough and they didn't have enough. Beverly, the and one. And look, the game, it wasn't over. We got a little sloppy, a little complacent here down the stretch as Draymond continued to assist Hunt. There was a turnover. And here's one where he puts KD in a compromising position, right? And at this point, maybe I'm a little overcritical, but I just wanted to escape the game with no more injuries. In the final 10 minutes or so of this game, it was like getting up in the morning and staring at your coffee pot waiting for the coffee to brew. It just took way too long to get done. Draymond, another block. Durant wants in on the block party, and this was a precarious little spill he had coming over from the weak side. He got that just in the nick of time, and the epic thing about Durant in this performance was he was talking shit the whole way. He was smiling, he was talking shit, he was like, I can do it all, I can do it all. He gets the block on Gallinari, Okay, they did have a little push here, right? But it never really felt threatening. Gallinari, like I said, was their best offensive player. He gets the two-handed dunk and cuts this thing down to 14. Staples on their feet. Ballmer ready to explode. But then Kevin Durant, that's right, I'm nice. He's letting everybody know I'm nice. I'm nice as he finishes off the 50-point performance in this game 6. I'm going to go on a little Lou Williams tangent here. Clay, you see him put the lock on him. Look, Lou Williams, man, I know everybody loves to love Lou and he's amazing. If Lou Williams called the fouls that he gets in a pickup game anywhere in America, he's getting all the way out. Someone's throwing punches. Like, there's a real problem. Like, he could not call the fouls he gets in any pickup game. I don't care where you play. And so I just think it's corny. And then Draymond, it's just too much, bro. It's too much. He didn't like the call. Okay, it's a bad call, but he gets over emotional and he gets a technical. It's his second of the playoffs. Remember, 7 is a suspension, so we got to watch that. The baddie with no reaction sitting there. He's too much, man. I can understand why other fan bases just can't stand him because sometimes, frankly, I can't either. And there is the 10th assist and the triple-double. And he goes back to the bench hollering at the refs, you can't save them. You can't save them. You can't save them. Well, don't expect the refs to save you anytime soon on a 50-50 call, Draymond. That's all I got to say. But Kerr, maybe not as pleased with this performance as you may think. That's a lackluster closeout from Steph, and look at Kerr's reaction. Very frustrated, hands on the face. But at this point, they came in there and they did what they had to do. But it didn't come without a cost. I've already talked about it a bunch through this breakdown, but obviously the big question moving forward against this Rockets team that we play less than 48 hours from now is the health of both Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Now, Kevin Durant, you know who he is. I tweeted out when he started to get going, is this the moment where he truly takes his seat on the throne? An ailing Steph Curry, and for the first time ever, didn't this kind of feel like Kevin Durant's team? To be honest with you, I know a lot of you aren't going to like what I'm saying here, but let's just be honest. Kevin Durant dominated and looks like the best player in the NBA right now. Can he carry us through this coveted three-peat? And then getting even further ahead of myself, is this a changing of the guard on this Warriors team? Does Kevin Durant dominate these playoffs, lead us to a three-peat, and all of a sudden, this is his team, and he feels that it's his team, and minds are changed, and Kevin Durant remains a Warrior? Just food for thought. I'll be back with the breakdown Monday. I'm out, y'all.